Hello, my name is Dr. Jeffrey McRae, and I am the bassoon instructor at Colorado Mesa University. This etude in the key of A minor will test your ability to articulate lightly as you navigate a variety of scalar patterns and chords. Notice that this etude is marked dolce at the beginning, and assume that this applies to the entire etude. Even though there are many notes marked staccato, think separate, not short. The dolce context should have an impact on how separately we play the staccato notes. This etude divides neatly into 4-bar and 8-bar phrases. Notice how in both halves of this etude, we can see 2 4-bar phrases followed by an 8-bar phrase. Sustaining the breath through the 8-bar phrases might be challenging when practicing at a tempo that is slower than what is indicated, but it should be achievable at the marked tempo without too much difficulty. That being said, I strongly urge you to start practicing this etude at a much slower tempo than 120. You may also want to consider performing this for the audition at a tempo that is slightly slower than 120. It's always better to play under tempo and cleanly than it is to play with mistakes. And remember that mistakes are not just wrong notes and wrong rhythms, but also cracked notes and unclear articulations. One problem I often hear from student bassoonists is that they try to play staccato notes as short as possible, and very little pitch or resonance to the individual notes are heard. As you practice this etude at a slow tempo, don't attempt to make the staccato notes as short as possible. Just make sure that they are separate. As you gradually increase the tempo, strive to ensure that the staccato notes have a clear center to the pitch and that they are clearly articulated. Keep your tongue relaxed and try not to strike the reed with your tongue. Observe that the staccato markings tend to appear only on the third note of each triplet. It does not apply to the second note, which is marked slurred from the first note. I would strive to keep the second note kind of long, especially in your slow practice. With this etude, we need to be vigilant about notes that are prone to cracking. Cracking is a complex problem and can be due to a number of issues: air speed, air pressure, reed problems, improper voicing, or finger technique. The range at the top of the staff in bass clef, from about F sharp to the C above the staff, or F sharp 3 to C4, is particularly prone to cracking, much of which can be addressed by better finger technique. I cannot overemphasize how much this needs to be worked out slowly. In some cases, particularly F sharp 3, G3, and G sharp 3, cracking is due to an improperly sized half-hole opening. Please note, and work this into your technique, that these 3 half-hole notes probably need a differently sized half-hole opening in order to prevent cracking. F sharp 3 needs the largest opening, G sharp needs the smallest opening. I tend to think of F sharp 3 as being 3/4 of the way open, G3 as being half open, and G sharp 3 or A flat 3 as being 1/4 of the way open. Notice that failing to close the half-hole notes on notes that do not require half-hole can also be a reason notes will crack. For A3, B flat 3, B3, and C4, it is possible to significantly reduce cracking by using the speaker keys, sometimes referred to as flicking or venting. If you're not familiar with the use of the speaker keys, this etude is a terrific opportunity for you to work on this skill. First, make sure that you're using the correct speaker key for each of the various notes in this range. The high A key is used for A3 and for B flat on some bassoons. The high C key is used for B flat 3, B3, and C4. If you are playing consecutive notes that use the same speaker key, you can hold down the key for all of those notes. I strive to use the speaker keys anytime I tongue one of these notes. The speaker keys are also useful for smoothing out certain slurs that land on these notes, whether you're slurring from above or below. Bear in mind that you still need to use proper airspeed and air pressure to get these notes to sound, but using the speaker keys correctly can significantly reduce the cracking on these notes. To achieve mastery with this skill, it is critical that you learn to move your left thumb in a deliberate, accurate, and efficient way. Therefore, it is important to eliminate any unnecessary tension in your left thumb. I recommend lots and lots of slow practice. Too often, I see young bassoonists struggle with using the speaker keys because they get attached to the whisper key, and then the thumb jerks up toward a speaker key. This is usually due to unnecessary tension while pressing down the whisper key. You only need enough pressure to make the key go down. Any extra pressure only makes it more difficult to release the key. I find that very often many of the problems bassoonists face with finger technique relate to how much pressure is being exerted through their fingers into the bassoon and its keys. It's also necessary to cultivate the ability to move your thumb slightly ahead of the rest of your fingers. In order to cover the distance between the whisper key and the speaker keys, or vice versa, one often has to release the key a bit early while still playing the note in order to get to the key needed for the next note. Observe how my thumb moves as I play measures 17 through 20 very slowly. See how my thumb actually moves slightly early? I need my thumb on the whisper key for each of the E's in this passage. So I move off of the speaker key as soon as the A or B or C has sounded. Likewise, I move my thumb off of the whisper key as soon as the second E has sounded in order to be able to get to the speaker key on time. Now watch me play this passage at a faster tempo. One more example. Observe how my thumb moves as I play measures 5 through 8 very slowly. Here, there are several consecutive notes that use the same speaker key. So I just hold down the key for the duration of those notes before moving my thumb to where it goes next. Now, watch my thumb as I play this passage at a faster tempo. It is very possible to learn to use the speaker keys with speed, accuracy, and an absence of unnecessary tension. However, this will only come through slow and deliberate practice with a conscious emphasis on eliminating any unnecessary tension in your fingers. I find it sometimes helpful to mark which notes require the speaker keys, and I have prepared an annotated version of this etude in order that you can see how I mark up my part. I use a small circle or a little letter O to notate any notes that require a speaker key. In most cases in this etude, it is necessary to use a speaker key because the note, either A3, B3, or C4, is being tongued, although there are a few times when the speaker key is helping you to facilitate a slur. Each time you see a single O, the speaker key for that note needs to be employed. Recall that A3 uses a different speaker key than B3 or C4. Sometimes there is a series of consecutive notes that use the same speaker key. In these cases, the symbol O with a line extending from it, is used to show that the speaker key can be held down for each of those notes. I have also used the symbol H to notate which notes require the use of the half hole with the left index finger. I find this a little bit helpful not only to remind me or to my students to open up the half hole, but also to close it for notes that don't need it.